Why do some people face challenges and come out stronger, while others feel lost and defeated? What gives certain individuals an unshakable sense of purpose, even in the midst of uncertainty? I believe the answer lies in something profound. Isaiah 43. This chapter isn't just words on a page, it's a promise, a declaration, a reminder that no matter what storms you face, you are not alone, that you are chosen, called by name, and deeply loved. So today I want to invite you to rethink how you see your struggles, to shift from fear to faith, from doubt to trust. Because if we truly embrace the power of Isaiah 43, we won't just survive life's challenges, we'll walk through fire and not be burned. Let's talk about why this is the most powerful prayer for your life. From the moment we take our first breath, we search for belonging. We look for acceptance, for affirmation, for a place where we truly matter. The world tells us that our worth is based on our achievements, our appearance, or the opinions of others. But Isaiah 43 tells us something radically different. It says that we are not defined by what we do, but by who we belong to. God calls us by name, not in a generic, distant way, but personally, intimately, and with purpose. Think about that for a moment. The creator of the universe, the one who formed the stars, the mountains, and the oceans, knows your name. He speaks it with love, with authority, and with intention. This isn't just about identity. It's about ownership. When God says, "You are mine," He is declaring that you are not abandoned, not forgotten, and not insignificant. Too often we allow our circumstances to dictate our value. We let failures convince us that we are unworthy, or we let rejection make us believe we are unlovable. But Isaiah 43 reminds us that before we ever succeeded or failed, before we were accepted or rejected by the world, we were already chosen by God. Being chosen means we are set apart. It means we are seen, we are loved, and we have a divine purpose that no one can take away. And that's the part, that we are seen, we are loved, and we have a divine purpose. This truth should change the way we see ourselves. We don't have to strive for approval because we already have it. We don't have to fear being overlooked because we are already seen. No mistake, no weakness, no external circumstance can erase the truth that God has called us, claimed us, and set us apart for something greater than we can imagine. Fear is one of the greatest barriers to living fully. It creeps into our minds, whispering doubts, reminding us of past failures, and making us question our worth. Fear tells us we are not enough, that the obstacles ahead are too big, and that we are walking alone. But Isaiah 43 brings a different message. Fear not, for I have redeemed you. These words are not just encouragement, they are a command backed by a promise. God does not tell us to avoid fear because life will be easy. He tells us to reject fear because He is with us. The struggles will come, but they will not define us. The uncertainty will rise, but it will not consume us. Fear loses its grip when we understand that we are not walking through life alone. The same God who parted the Red Sea, who shut the mouths of lions, who raised the dead, is the same God who walks beside us today. Fear often paralyzes us. It keeps us from stepping into opportunities, from embracing our calling, from trusting fully. But God's presence is greater than any fear we face. When He says, "Fear not," He is not asking us to muster up courage on our own. He is inviting us to trust in His strength, not ours. The world will always give us reasons to fear, but God gives us a reason to stand firm. He reminds us that we are redeemed, that our past does not define us, and that He has already made a way for us. Fear is loud, but God's promise is louder. When we shift our focus from fear to faith, we step into the life we were always meant to live. Life is full of deep waters, moments when we feel like we are drowning in challenges, uncertainty, and pain. But Isaiah 43 reminds us of a powerful truth. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. Notice that it doesn't say if you pass through the waters. It says when. This means challenges are not a possibility, they are a certainty. No one is exempt from struggle. But the promise is not that we will avoid the waters. The promise is that we will not go through them alone. God doesn't remove every difficulty from our path, but He walks with us through them. He does not allow the waters to consume us, no matter how strong the waves may feel. We often try to fight against the currents of life on our own, struggling to stay afloat with our own strength. But the more we fight in fear, the more exhausted we become. The key is not in our ability to swim, it is in our willingness to trust. Just like a child learning to float, the moment they stop panicking and start trusting, they begin to rise above the water instead of sinking. God's presence changes everything. The waters may rise, but they will not overtake us. The storms may come, but they will not define us. When we walk in the confidence that He is with us, we can face the deep waters of life without fear. Fire represents the most intense trials of life, the moments when the heat of adversity feels unbearable, when everything around us seems to be burning and we wonder if we will make it through. It can be the fire of betrayal, loss, financial struggle, or the weight of personal failure. Fire is painful, it consumes, and it destroys. But Isaiah 43 delivers a powerful promise. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, nor shall the flames scorch you. Just like with the waters, God does not say we will avoid the fire. He does not promise a life free of struggle. Instead, He assures us that even when we find ourselves in the fire, it will not consume us. The flames may rise, but they will not destroy what God has placed inside us. In the Bible, there's a moment when this promise is made real. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego stood in the literal fire, bound and thrown in for refusing to bow to an earthly king. Yet when the king looked into the flames, he didn't see 3 men, he saw 4. God was with them in the fire. And when they came out, not a single hair on their heads was burned. The fire didn't destroy them, it refined them. Our trials are not meant to break us, they are meant to shape us. Fire purifies, refines, and strengthens. It burns away fear, doubt, and anything that keeps us from stepping fully into God's purpose. We may walk through seasons that feel unbearable, but we do not walk through them alone. The fire may surround us, but God stands in it with us. And when we come out on the other side, we will be stronger, refined, and untouched by the flames. There is something deeply comforting about knowing that we are not alone. Life often makes us feel isolated, like we are carrying burdens too heavy for anyone to understand. When we go through struggles, whether it's personal loss, financial hardship, or emotional battles, it's easy to believe that no one truly sees what we are facing. But Isaiah 43 reminds us of a truth that changes everything. God is always with us. His presence is not conditional. It is not based on how strong our faith is, how many times we pray, or whether we feel worthy. His presence is constant, unwavering, and unshaken by our circumstances. When we feel abandoned, He is there. When we feel forgotten, He is there. When we don't even know how to pray, He is still there, holding us up when we cannot stand on our own. God's presence does not mean we won't face difficulties, but it does mean that in the middle of those difficulties, we are not fighting alone. The same God who walked with Moses through the wilderness, who stood with David against Goliath, and who strengthened Paul in prison, is the same God who stands with us today. We often look for signs to know that God is near, but His presence isn't always about what we can see, it's about what we can trust. Sometimes He calms the storm, other times He calms us in the middle of it. Whether we feel Him or not, He never leaves. He walks through every valley, every fire, and every deep water with us. When we embrace this truth, fear loses its power, loneliness loses its grip, and we begin to walk in the confidence that no matter what we face, we are never alone. Every person longs for a sense of purpose, a reason for being, a mission that gives meaning to their life. The world tells us that purpose is found in success, recognition, or material wealth. But Isaiah 43 reveals something far greater. We were created for a divine purpose, one that is not defined by external achievements, but by God Himself. God does not create anything without intention. He did not bring you into existence by accident or without a plan. Before you were born, He knew you. Before you ever took a step, He had a path for you. Your purpose is not something you have to chase or earn. It is something you were designed for. Many people spend their lives searching for their why, believing that they must figure it out on their own. But the truth is, our purpose is not about what we do. It is about who we belong to. Isaiah 43:7 says, "Everyone who is called by my name, whom I have created for my glory, I have formed him. Yes, I have made him." You were created for His glory. Your life has meaning because you are a reflection of the one who made you. This means that no matter what season you are in, whether you feel successful or lost, your purpose remains the same. You are here to bring light, to make a difference, and to walk in the calling God has placed on your life. Even when you feel unqualified, even when you face setbacks, your purpose does not change. God is still working in you, through you, and for you. When you embrace this truth, life takes on new meaning. You no longer strive for approval or validation. You walk boldly, knowing that you are created for something greater. Life is full of battles, some seen, others unseen. We face struggles in our relationships, our careers, our health, and even within ourselves. At times it feels like everything is working against us, as if the weight of opposition is too heavy to bear. But Isaiah 43 reminds us of a powerful truth. God's protection over our lives is unshakable. The enemy will try to convince us that we are vulnerable, that we are defenseless against the trials of life. Fear tells us that we are one failure away from ruin, one heartbreak away from despair, or one setback away from losing it all. But God declares something different. His promise is clear. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. This doesn't mean that weapons won't be formed, that attacks won't come, or that hardships won't arise. It means that none of them will succeed in taking us down. Think about what that means. The trials designed to break you will only strengthen you. The storms meant to drown you will only refine you. The obstacles set in your path will not stop the plan God has for your life. There will be moments when the battle feels intense, but God has already gone before you. He's not reacting to your struggles. He has already prepared the victory. God's protection is not just about physical safety. It is about spiritual covering. He shields your mind from doubt, your heart from bitterness, and your soul from destruction. Even in moments when it feels like you are under attack, God is standing as your defender. He is your refuge, your fortress, and your unshakable foundation. Nothing formed against you can take away what He has already declared over your life. We all carry things from our past, mistakes, regrets, failures, and wounds that sometimes feel impossible to heal. The enemy wants us to believe that our past defines us, that we are forever bound by the choices we have made or the things that have happened to us. But Isaiah 43 delivers a promise that shatters this lie. God is a God of redemption and renewal. No matter how far we've fallen, no matter how many wrong turns we've taken, God's grace is greater. He does not see us through the lens of our past. He sees us through the lens of His love. Isaiah 43:18-19 says, "Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? This is not just a hopeful thought. It is a divine declaration." God is not just offering forgiveness. He is offering transformation. Redemption means that what was broken can be restored. It means that the pain of your past is not wasted. God takes the very things that were meant to destroy you and uses them to shape you into something stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the future He has planned. The things that once held you back no longer have power over you. When God says He is doing a new thing, He means that your story is not over. The failures of yesterday do not dictate your tomorrow. Your identity is not in what you have done, but in what He has done for you. When you accept His redemption, you step into a life where your past no longer has control, only His grace does. Trust is one of the hardest things to fully surrender, especially when life feels uncertain. We like to be in control, to have a plan, to know exactly how things will turn out. But Isaiah 43 reminds us that our strength does not come from our ability to control outcomes. It comes from our willingness to trust God completely. God does not ask us to trust Him blindly. He gives us reason after reason to believe in His faithfulness. Throughout history, He has proven that He keeps His promises. He led His people through the Red Sea when there was no way forward. He provided for them in the wilderness when there was nothing to sustain them. He rescued, restored, and redeemed over and over again, and He is still doing it today. Isaiah 43:2 says, "When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you." This is an invitation to trust. Not in our own ability to navigate life, but in the One who has already made a way. The waters may rise, the storms may come, but we are not alone. Trusting God means letting go of fear, even when we don't have all the answers. It means believing that He is working, even when we cannot see it. It means surrendering our plans in exchange for something greater, His perfect will. When we learn to trust, we stop striving and start resting. We stop worrying about what we cannot control and start walking in faith, knowing that the same God who has been faithful before will be faithful again. His plan is greater, His ways are higher, and when we trust Him, we will never be led astray. Life often presents us with situations where the path forward seems impossible. Doors close, opportunities disappear, and we find ourselves wondering how we will ever move beyond our current struggles. But Isaiah 43 offers a profound promise. God is always making a way, even when we cannot see it. Isaiah 43:19 declares, I am doing a new thing, now it springs up, do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. This means that no matter how impossible things may seem, God is already working behind the scenes, preparing a breakthrough. What looks like a dead end to us is simply a setup for His power to be revealed. Throughout Scripture, we see this truth in action. God made a way for the Israelites by parting the Red Sea. He made a way for Joseph, turning betrayal and imprisonment into a position of influence and purpose. He made a way for Paul and Silas, breaking their chains in a prison cell. Time and time again, he proves that his power is not limited by circumstances. But the key to experiencing his provision is faith. Sometimes we do not recognize the way he is making because we are too focused on what we expected. We look for familiar solutions, but God operates beyond human understanding. He brings streams in the wasteland, providing in ways we never imagined. No matter what situation you are facing right now, God has already gone ahead of you. He is preparing opportunities, opening doors, and aligning circumstances for your good. Even when things seem uncertain, you can walk forward with confidence, knowing that God is always making a way. Throughout Isaiah 43, we are reminded of one undeniable truth. God is with us. He has called us by name, set us apart, and declared that we are His. No matter what trials we face, deep waters, raging fires, or seemingly impossible obstacles, He walks with us, protects us, and leads us forward. Fear does not have the final say. Our past does not define us. The battles we fight will not break us. God's presence is our strength. His redemption is our renewal, and His purpose is our reason for moving forward. When we embrace this truth, we no longer live as people trying to survive. We live as people who are chosen, protected, and called for something greater. The world may tell us that we are alone, that we are not enough, that the future is uncertain. But Isaiah 43 gives us a different message. You are not alone. You are more than enough, because God is with you. Your future is secure because He is already making a way. So as you step forward, step with confidence, not because life will be easy, but because you are walking in the promise of a God who never fails. No matter what comes next, fear not. He has redeemed you. You belong to Him, and He will never let you go.